You guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Crystalline, aka Chris, and I'm back with another video. And so before I start this video, I would like to welcome all the new viewers. Hello. And I would like to give you all the time now to thumbs up this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe to my channel so that you will be updated and notified when I post new content. And so without further ado, let's get started with this video. So this is the book that I've been reading currently. It's called Boundaries: When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life, and it is by Dr. Cloud and Dr.John Townsend. And so I've been reading this book going on I've been reading this book for over a year, because I received this book my senior year of high school when I was going through things in my little high school love affair or whatever. My grandmother gave this book to me, and I'm just now getting around to really reading it. Like, when I received the book, I just read a couple of pages and I put it down, but now I am actually reading this book, and this book has really helped me change my mindset on how I feel about relationships. I can tell that I am really growing and maturing, because I feel totally different about relationships these days. And this is an amazing book for young girls, teenagers, young adults, anybody, because me and my mother read this book together. She has a copy also, so we've both been reading this. Anybody could use this advice in this book. It is this is like a Christian based book. A lot of the books that I receive are Christian based, because my grandmother gives me a lot of books. And another book that I have read that was really good that I don't have on hand at the moment is called But I Love Him, and it is by Amanda Grace, if I'm not mistaken. I will try to link both books down below in the comments. But let's get started talking about relationships. So I am currently 20 years old at the moment, and I am not in a relationship per se, but I am working on building a friendship with someone. I have a really good friendship with someone, and I'm working on building a bond with that person that could potentially turn into a relationship. But I'm not in a relationship at the moment with the title of boyfriend, girlfriend, if that makes any sense. So I was in my first relationship at 16 years old, and I was in a relationship with that person for 3 years, and I was so glad when I got out of it. Although I cried, I knew that I was doing what was best for me, and I was doing what my family members and everyone around me wanted me to do from the jump, because they knew that I was in a toxic relationship and it was nothing but bad to come out of it, and the road that I was going down wasn't a good road. And so I know that there are girls in relationships way younger than that, like 16, and to each his own. I personally feel that girls shouldn't be in relationships younger than that, because that's how I was raised. But you know, everyone's raised differently, and I feel that anyone in a relationship younger than 16 should be in a supervised relationship. I was scared to have a boyfriend. That was my main issue, because of course I was scared to have sex, and also I was afraid to let my parents know that I was dating, because I did not have a friendship with my parents. They were my parents, and they kept it that way. And so in their relationship, from 16 to 18, 15, I was 15 or 16 actually. I'm really not sure. I think I was like 15 going on 16. I'm really not sure. But I was vulnerable. That was my first relationship, and he was only a year older than me, but he had been in very mature relationships for his age. He was in his first relationship when he was like 14 or so, 13, 14, and his relationships were extremely more mature. So he wanted me to be on a more mature level, and that happens with a lot of young girls. I know from my experience and from my friends that is what happened, and peer pressure is terrible. Like, it's so many things that I would not have done if I was not peer pressured. But in the relationship at that age, I was very vulnerable. I was easily manipulated and controlled, and especially being with someone like him, he was extremely manipulated and controlling, and he knew that I was vulnerable, so he took advantage of that, and he knew that I was gonna allow whatever he wanted. And so advice I would have for young girls 16 and even younger, because like I said, girls are dating way younger these days. My advice for them would be to realize that there are other guys in the world, and that guy that you start dating at 13, 14, 15, 16, however old you are, it really doesn't matter about how young you are, because if you are 50 years old and you get a boyfriend, he is your boyfriend and he can be replaced, period. That's honestly how I feel. And my viewpoint has not always been that way. Like I said, reading this book here and other books have completely changed my viewpoint, and I know that I am growing and maturing. And I would just say to girls of that age, don't allow yourselves to be easily manipulated, which is hard because at that age you're so vulnerable. Like, that's my biggest regret of that age. But you know, that happens to a lot of young girls. Don't be submissive, and that goes for every age also. Don't be submissive. There are other girls, other guys in the world, period. That's just how I feel to young girls. And do not let a guy tell you that if you loved him, you would have sex with him, because that's completely untrue. If he loves you, he will wait. And that's one thing that I really don't regret, but I do, because growing up in a Christian household, you know, we are taught that we aren't supposed to have sex until marriage, but let's just be honest, that's just not gonna happen. So I would say wait, remain abstinent, however you say that, but like, that's the best thing you can do, because purity is everything, and once you lose that, you cannot get it back. And so that's the advice I have for younger girls. Don't be so mediocre either. Don't be submissive. Don't be mediocre. You know, don't get into a relationship with someone and you are already talking about marriage and having babies together, etc. Because let's just be real, there are plenty of people in the world, and that is not your last option, and that is not the last person you ever gonna be with. And if you feel like you gonna die without that person, which it happens, everyone gets heartbroken, because that definitely has happened to me. I feel like I could not live without a guy, but life goes on and you meet new people and you say the same thing about every person. That's the crazy thing, because I have definitely said the same thing every relationship I got in, and it's perfectly fine because that's how relationships and life works. I have been in so many relationships where I'm like, this the one, we gonna get married, we gonna have kids, you know. But I would advise girls between the ages of 13 to 18, whatever age you are dating in as a teen, do not be mediocre and submissive. And so for girls of my age group, I would like to say the same things. Don't be submissive to your mate. Don't move in together. Don't overstep boundaries. And that's what I like so much about this book, because it explains all the levels of boundaries, all the steps, etc. Like, this book is so dope. I suggest every female go check this book out. And so don't overstep the boundaries of moving in together. No, definitely not. Boyfriend and girlfriend should not live together until you are married. No, don't move in together. Don't do anything together that, I don't know. But just don't be submissive and don't do husband-like things for your boyfriend, if that makes any sense. Don't call each other husband and wife if you are not legally married. It is not the same thing at all. That is a totally different level. And how I feel personally, I like to have my own space, so I will not live with a guy, period. I will never move in with a guy unless that is the last option that I have, because that's overstepping a boundary, and that is a part of being married, etc. And I don't want to live my whole life shacking it with somebody. If that makes any sense. You know, some people be together for years, but they never get married. And it is a difference. It totally is. Being legally married versus shacking, that's totally different. And a lot of people don't understand it. Girls and women who are trying to get over a relationship would be, realize that you had a good run. That's what I always say. I always say, okay, I had a good run with the person, and I think about the good times we had, and I think about the bad times we had, and majority of the time the good does outweigh the bad. But if the bad outweighs the good, you have to move on. You have to move on and say, well, I did what was best for me and my mental health. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not worth being in a toxic relationship and hurting mentally every day you wake up. So that would be my advice. And personally, now how my mindset is with relationships, I do not want to be submissive to anyone. I do not want to live with anyone. Most importantly, I feel that if we are dating, I should have my own place and you should have yours, and we need space and distance, because I feel like moving in together is crossing a boundary, and moving in together is something that married people should do. And so yeah, that's basically what I have to say about that. Like, eventually, if me and the person I am working not be friends first, and we are rushing into a relationship, then I don't need to be with him, because I don't need anyone that makes me feel pressured to make me feel like I have to hurry up and claim the title of being their girlfriend, or they gonna stop dealing with me, because then that means that we don't need to be together. And what I like so much about the person who I am friends with at the moment is that he wants the same thing. He wants to be friends and create a bond and figure me out and see if we are compatible before we actually get in a relationship together. And that's what I like so much about him. And so for my relationships in the future, that is exactly what I plan to do. I plan to pursue a friendship and create a bond with that person, and don't overstep any boundaries. I have set standards for myself, and that's why my next relationships, my future relationships will be completely different as far as how they are created. I can't say much about how the relationship as a whole will be, because I don't know what the future has to hold, but I know the boundaries that I'm setting and the standards and things that I will not accept. And for any relationship that I have lost, or relationships in the future that do not work out, all I have to say is we had a good run. That's all I can say. No matter how bad the relationship is, no matter what happened, everyone has good moments in relationship. Nobody ever has a relationship where it's just bad, like the whole relationship was bad. No, everyone has some good moments. So I say we had a good ride regardless of what bad happened in the relationship. You have to say we had a good ride and move on. That's just how it goes. And it's not that hard. It's really not, especially when you invest so much of your time and you keep praying that it works and you keep investing your time into this person. But you just gotta realize what's best for you and what you want for yourself, and set standards of your ideal relationship and your ideal person. And so before I leave you all, I'm just going to give you some examples of boundaries. In this book, it has a chapter that's called "What Does a Boundary Look Like?" and it has some examples of boundaries. It says skin. By skin, I mean don't have sex. Don't get them any sex, because you know, y'all should know why. Don't get them sex. Don't make them feel like that's what you want. Don't wear revealing clothes around them. Don't get comfortable. Don't even lay next to them naked and say, I don't want sex, because of course males, they want sex. Let's just be real. So it says words, it says truth, and like I said, this is a Christian based book. So with every subject or section in this book, it has like a verse out of the Bible, and like it mentions God and the boundaries you should have with God. Also in your relationship, it says time, emotional distance, other people, consequences. You know, it's so many things: feelings, attitudes and beliefs, behaviors, values, limits, thoughts. I suggest that every female, no matter how old you are, set some standards and some limits for yourself and things that you won't accept in your next relationship, and things that you won't accept leading up to a relationship, because that's the most important part. Because if you set standards before you even get in a relationship, it helps you to get to know the person that you are getting in a relationship with, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna leave you all for now, and I will be back with another video. And like I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you comment if you want any advice. You can email me. I'll link my email down below too, so that you can email me if you have any questions, or you can comment them down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and be nice to one another. Most importantly, be nice to yourselves, and make your life a masterpiece. Imagine no limitations on what you can be, have, or do. Goodbye, love.
Yeah. I ran it up just to fuck it up. And I feel like them niggas can't fuck with us.